for TNA News. So Eric Bischoff believes TNA can surpass AEW as the number 2 promotion within next year. Now, did we play this on the show? I think we did already. I can't remember if I played the whole clip, but he said that they're one deal away from being a major player. If they get the right broadcast situation, watch them take off within 1 year from now, as long as they get the right deal. Okay, so I'm going to keep that down there in case we have to defer to it or fact check, because Meltzer says some that I think we're going to fact check him live on the air, if my memory serves me correct here. JBL reveals he was originally scheduled for TNA Slammiversary, but explains why plans were scrapped. And so we head on over to Cultaholic. He says, I was supposed to have a real escalation of what we were doing in TNA. We had the whole thing planned out. All that stuff was going somewhere. I told everybody it was, and it was. I was going somewhere, and I thought it was. I was very excited about it. I was training for it. I got in really good shape for it. I was ready to go, and they called me one day and said, hey, we're changing our mind, and that's their prerogative. The person that said it is no longer there, and what they changed to, it never happened. I never got brought back into it after that. There is a reason it all kind of got put on the back burner. Okay, so listen, man, they need to. So maybe that was like D'Amore saying, like, hey, I set up and built up all this with JBL. You're not just going to, like, that. I'm just going to cut that off. And that's whatever. That's his prerogative, too. And so Carlos Silva, pick that up and, yes, have something, do something with that, okay? Most definitely. It's still intriguing. Like, if he just still popped up places and clothesline people, I'd be down. The payoff can still happen. I'm here for it, Eric. Bound for glory. Speaking of Carlos Silva, he responds to backlash over WWE stars holding TNA titles at Slammiversary. So Jacey Jane and Trick Williams walked out with the TNA world titles. And so Carlos Silva had this to say, look, how do you respond? You respond by saying, I understand and I get it. If you saw the look on my face, that's all part of wrestling. I think there were some great payoffs at Slammiversary, like with Leon, who we talked about, and there's going to be more great payoffs as we build toward Bound for Glory. These are the paths that happen when you build these kinds of matchups. So to the fans, I'd say this. I'm glad they're talking about it. That means we matter. It means they care and we care, and we're going to keep growing it together. Now, let me hit a little X-Files or fantasy mark booking here, okay? So when AEW and TNA partnered up, Kenny Omega came in, grabbed their belt. No one cried like this. They were like, this is crazy. And it popped ratings. And Ant Evans was on this show, confirmed that. And he was there at the time. Okay. So, it did benefit them that way. But what Tony Khan didn't do, which he never does, is capitalize on momentum. And now with this whole NXT TNA invasion thing, and we talked about it live on the show, right, for Slammiversary, I was like, this is their Mania now, right? I always feel, to me, I felt like Slammiversary sort of became their WrestleMania, but I know BFG has been like their number one show or their WrestleMania, but like, what would you guys think it is? So basically they're billing Bound for Glory as, and chat sort of agreed with me on that, but Bound for Glory is like their biggest show. So I think that's where we'll see TNA like triumph on their side of things, and it'll be oh my God, maybe Trick could hold it all the way until then. Who knows? October, June, July, August, September. We're right there, guys. He could hold it a few months. When is it? Late in October. So they could have it all, this is their SummerSlam, right? So I think people we're expecting that TNA rah shit to go down. And maybe it should have for Santana while you're in New York, right? But at the end of the day, they have a vision in mind. And I think when Omega won that title from TNA and that kicked up a lot of momentum, they didn't capitalize on it the right way. And so WWE and TNA sort of see the value in that. And what's really cool, and you gotta note this, TNA guys are over with the TNA crowd and shit. So that's what you want, because the minute it becomes TNA, that's just like a WWE show. oh, that's just like NXT or whatever. Then it's like Raw and SmackDown, right? Like Vince created he wanted to compete with himself, Raw versus SmackDown, that sort of thing with the brand split and all that. And there was always that. And to this day, there's a lot of people who are like, Raw's better, SmackDown's better. Even we all have our opinions on that. You know, Raw's cooking more than SmackDown lately, which is good. And that's why I think brand splits are important, even though WWE doesn't give a fuck about that. But the minute TNA becomes like, oh, it's NXT and TNA, and not in like the endearing, like, we love this way that we all talk about it, when it becomes like, oh, it's the SmackDown to NXT's, you know, whatever. So once it becomes that, then it's not like compelling, and then it's shitty. But what they're doing is like TNA guys get popped for by the TNA crowd. Does that make sense? Am I verbalizing this correctly? I don't know. I'm also watching Mike Bailey's thing, and shit's all over the place. And I guess Jet Speed is just like, they're just a team, matching gear and everything. I don't know why you'd bring these guys in and make them a team, but okay. But yeah, so he responded. He's like, yo, it's all part of the show, baby. That's basically what he had to say. And I respect Carlos Silva. Speaking of respect, you will respect or you will rest in peace. Undertaker showed up and he hit the gongs on fucking Trick Willie. Where's my ding? And so I'm gonna play this. Like, I'm not gonna show it because I can't.
Let me give you
guys will hear
one
it.
More piece of advice. In the ass to step to an OG. Now, I can flip that switch real quick. But listen, Trick, when I do, I promise you, I will make you famous.
Oh shit, that's his punchline. So then he choke slams him, as you guys can see here. Right, he choke slams him. Boom, gets him up. Look how high Trick Willie got, dude. Boom, and he was just selling like crazy. Now, what's the point to doing this, right? So NXT had a lot of shit pop off. This is in TNA news because Trick Williams is the TNA World Champion, right? So it pertains to TNA news. Now, I never thought we'd live to see a day where Undertaker chokeslams the TNA World Champion on NXT would ever be a fucking sentence that we'd ever be speaking, right? But what does this do? Unless Trick is going to beat the shit out of Undertaker and beat him in a match, what does this do for anybody? And I get it. It gives him the rub. Yes, and it gets him eyeballs, and I think NXT did a good rating. We'll talk about that in WWE news. But I don't really get what this does for TNA or what this does for Trick. I'm not too sure, unless there's some sort of like Trick hits Undertaker and then someone stands up on behalf of Undertaker in the weeks to come. I just don't know why you'd necessarily do this. And yeah. And for TNA, what do they gain from that either? I mean, the TNA title. No. I'll tell you what TNA gains. TNA title on NXT, Papa rating, CW, with Undertaker involved in a TNA world title segment. TNA can tweet shit out. Undertaker. Oh my God. And the reason as well, the reason that the WWE guys have the belts is because they are helping them get a fucking TV deal. And we're going to talk about the TV deal landscape a little more as we progress throughout the night. So stay locked in here. Guys, we've been chronicling these. Carlos Silva presents the latest TNA All-Star Award. And let's see who gets it this week.
In January, we targeted tonight. And, you know, we championship banners on the ceiling from other teams that play here.
So if you guys are unfamiliar, TNA locker room, they all meet up together. Carlos Silva hands out an award. Tony Khan doesn't even hold production meetings. I just talk to everyone separately. I talk to them each on Twitter. I send them a nice FaceTime video and a Starbucks card. It's great. Right? But then Carlos like holds a meeting and then they hand out these awards. This woman standing behind him actually won one of them last time.
We're going to sell
So it's not
out.
just for the wrestlers.
The place is going to be rocking. And it's because of everything you all do in the ring. So thank you again for making it happen. want to keep the tradition going. You know, we've had a lot of fun together, and we've been doing some all-stars over these last few weeks. Everyone's going to be an all-star tonight because the place is going to be insane. But before we get into tonight, we wanted to just celebrate a couple people that have helped us get here today, and mostly also celebrate one person who's got, I think, like great spunky attitude that never says no and always helps us move TNA.
Someone in chat said this guy's more cringy than fucking Tony Khan. How? That isn't humanly possible, dude. He isn't in any way.
Lish.
So here we go. Alicia Edwards.
It's definitely been a full circle moment for me. I got here in 2017 as Eddie Edwards' wife, from COVID with no fans to barely opening half of the side of the building to have those be there, and to be able to sell out this arena and doing it with the talent.
They keep saying sell out. They didn't like sell it out. They sold out the, they sold out the fucking the setup. It's crazy that everyone plays this game, right? But it's funny because Meltzer, like, the reason no one's hounding TNA is because we go, yeah, everyone plays this game. We all accept it, right? But then with AEW, no one wants to keep the same energy. It's like, look, TNA does the same shit, Let's not pretend that it's not where, even when Switchblade said they padded the house a bit, like, oh, they sold it that, like, we broke it down on the show. We're like, okay, maybe they padded it 1,000 fucking people. Good for them. Round of applause, TNA. Everyone does it. It's just when you are still mad about WrestleMania 3, but you won't keep the same energy for All in London, taking it back to the original fucking Wembley show, then there's a problem there. We got to make fun of it, But yeah, shout out Alicia Edwards, and I think someone else gets one here. Let's see.
To filling up an arena, to making sure that every seat is taken.
And he hands them a star, Meltzer style. Meltzer's like, they stole my gimmick, Brian.
That every VIP.
It's okay when he gives stars. Why is it okay when he does it?
Easy. And I've known Andrea for a long time. She's worked with me, and I can't tell you how much I'm happy that she's on our team to help us fill up arenas and lead marketing for us. So our additional all-star tonight is Andrea.
Andrea from marketing. There you go. So round of applause. Let's play Easy's clip. Let's do it. Let's hear what he had to say.
And they're making a lot of smart decisions. I remember when Carlos came on, they made an announcement when Carlos came on. And I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. But they're making they're growing incrementally, right? And they're doing it almost quietly. Like, they're not out there thumping their chests and talking about taking down the competition and all the, the crazy stuff that, for example, AEW did in the very beginning. They're just quietly going about their business, producing great shows, bringing in great talent, and getting involved with great partnerships, and they're growing their business. And that's the part that excites me, watching a business grow, especially a wrestling business. Got a little bit of an affinity for it.
Yes.
So it's been fun watching TNA grow.
It's been shocking somewhat for me because I felt like they were almost dead a few years ago, right? It just felt like they were going nowhere, that they had no momentum, and now all of a sudden, 7,600 at a big arena last night. The deal with WWE.
Shout out the Ariel Helwani show, uncrowned 83 weeks, Eric Bischoff, the whole lot.
WWE has obviously been,
and of course, Conrad Thompson,
beneficial, but it just seems like they have a ton more momentum than maybe 3-4 years ago.
They're one deal away from being a major player.
Wow.
If they get a broadcast partner, if they get the right broadcast situation, because they've got the product, they know what they're doing. There's a good team of people. They just need a bigger platform. And if they get it, watch them take off.
Are you surprised by this? Did you think they were dead?
I'm surprised by it.
Yeah.
I wrote about it.
Now we're going to look at some of this stuff broken down a little bit more as we get into AEW news. All right. And we talk about TV numbers and stuff like that.
Off a long time ago.
It felt like they had, there was no sizzle. It was gone.
There was no sizzle. There was no steak. There was no plate.
There was no nothing.
There was no pan. There was no anything.
Could they, at some point, pass AEW? They'll never get to WWE.
If TNA gets on like the CW or what are they talking about? It could be Fox. It could be, there's all these different things being thrown out. They could get 300,000 viewers. That's not outside the realm of possibility. That's why Dave's just trying to diminish it and mock it and laugh at it. And it's because Bischoff's saying it. And what does Bischoff know? His amateur wrestling thing's going to fail. So that somehow has anything to do with pro wrestling.
Let's not get crazy. But do you think they could be number 2? Do they have what it takes?
By this time next year.
You think so?
I think so.
This time next year, Eric? Really? It depends on the TV deal, though, right?
Depends on a TV deal.
If the TV deal isn't a big one, isn't a great one, that will be tough.
Damn near impossible.
Right. But you feel like they could do it this time next year.
With the right television partner.
They're number 2 this time.
You know, how do you...
So now Dave also, this is what I want to fact check. So Dave spins, the infamous Meltzer spin. So Bischoff, he misquotes Bischoff, then goes on a tangent about, a better TV deal or whatever. And it's like, Eric didn't even say getting a better TV deal than AEW. We know that that's not going to happen. Right? But Dave's trying to spin it to his dumb fuck listeners so that they think that that's a thing that Bischoff said, because they're not going to take the time to listen because they get triggered when they listen to both sides. You know?
What's number 2? By what revenue, by what measure do we define a number 2? But I think
they do better ratings than TV ratings than AEW. Dave is just going to go, but their streaming isn't even comparable on Max, though. The numbers are blah, blah, blah. And then they just need to show that they can do the same numbers in streaming or get picked up by a bigger streamer, which if what Dave says is true, then that'll be no problem for TNA. It could happen, right? It just all rides on rather the TV deal, which is what Bischoff's saying here. And then I'm not hearing him say, if they get a better one than AEW, and Dave's about to say that later in the night. You guys will hear. Make sure you stay locked in.
In terms of television ratings, popularity, they could be number 2 in a minute.
What are they doing right that you think AEW is not doing?
They're just doing the basics. They're doing the basics and producing a show for the mainstream wrestling audience, not for that 10% hardcore sicko that everybody thinks is a cool demo, because it's not.
Hit him with a sicko mode. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was TNA news. Let me play you guys a banjo.